If we had known the truth earlier, none of this would have happened.
We need O-negative blood now, or we'll lose her. Take mine.
I didn't even know her, but I couldn't let her die.
Grace? Your mother's name is Grace? How do you know my mother? You're telling me the woman I love is my sister? I love you, but I can't stay.
No, this can't be true.
The day Daniel walked into that hospital, he thought he was there to save one life. He had no idea he was walking into a story that would change his own forever. Daniel sat quietly in the waiting area, his fingers locked together, his eyes fixed on the theatre door. Inside, the man he had called father all his life was about to undergo surgery. "Mr. Okeke's son?" a nurse called. Daniel stood up quickly. "Yes, I'm here." "You'll need to be strong. The surgery might take some hours." Daniel nodded. Strong. That word sounded heavy, because the truth was, he wasn't strong. He was scared. He had done everything he could, sold his laptop, borrowed money, skipped meals, all just to keep that man alive. Because to him, that man was his father, the only one he had ever known. As he sat back down, trying to calm his breathing, a sudden noise broke the silence. "Doctor, we need blood urgently!" Nurses rushed past him. A stretcher followed. On it lay a young girl, weak, unconscious, barely holding on. Daniel looked away at first. He didn't want to get involved. He already had too much to carry. But something pulled his eyes back. The girl's hand dropped from the stretcher, lifeless, still, and something inside him shifted. "Excuse me," he said, standing up quickly. "Do you need blood?" The nurse turned, almost desperate. "Yes! Oh, negative!" Daniel swallowed. "That's my blood group." Minutes later, he lay on a hospital bed, watching his blood flow through a tube, into a bag, into a life he didn't know. "Why am I doing this?" he whispered. He had no answer, but deep down, it didn't feel like a choice.
Hours passed. The surgery was successful. His father survived. The girl also survived. Daniel didn't wait for gratitude. He didn't ask questions. He just left quietly, as if nothing happened.
2 weeks later, he returned to the hospital. And that was when he heard a voice. "Wait!" He turned, and there she was, alive, standing, looking at him with eyes full of emotion. "Are you Daniel?" she asked. He frowned. "Yes." Her voice shook slightly. "You saved my life." Daniel blinked. "You're the girl?" She nodded. "My name is Ada." They stood there, two strangers, connected by something deeper than they understood. "I don't even know what to say," Ada said softly. "Thank you doesn't feel enough." Daniel smiled slightly. "You don't have to say anything." But something had already started. something quiet, something unexplainable. That moment didn't end there. It followed them into conversations, into thoughts, into something that began to grow without permission. And before Daniel realized it, Ada was no longer just a girl he saved. She had become someone he couldn't ignore. And that was how it started. Not with love, not with intention, but with a single moment that refused to be forgotten. That connection didn't fade. It didn't disappear like most chance encounters. Instead, it grew. Slowly at first, then all at once. Their conversations became a routine. Morning messages, late-night calls, small check-ins that slowly became the most important parts of their day. "Have you eaten?" Ada would ask. "Not yet," Daniel would reply. "Go and eat. Don't stress yourself too much." He would smile, because somehow she cared. One evening, she asked him, "Why did you help me that day?" Daniel paused. "I don't know. I just couldn't walk away." Ada was quiet for a moment. Then she said softly, "Maybe you were meant to stay." They started seeing each other outside the hospital, walking together, talking freely, laughing without effort. Ada was different. She wasn't trying to impress him. She wasn't pretending. She was just real. Daniel frowned. "What do you mean?" "I was tired. Tired of everything. Fighting. Hoping. Waiting." Her voice cracked. "But then you showed up." Daniel didn't know what to say, so he just said, "You're still here." She smiled. "Because you didn't let me go." That night changed something. Their bond grew deeper, stronger. Weeks passed. Feelings grew. Unspoken at first, then impossible to ignore. One evening, rain fell heavily. Ada couldn't go home. Daniel offered her a place to stay until it stopped. They sat close, quiet. The air between them felt different, heavy. "Daniel," she whispered. He looked at her, and in that moment, they crossed a line. Not out of recklessness, but out of emotion, connection, and something they didn't understand. The next morning felt different, quieter. Ada looked thoughtful. "What if this changes everything?" she asked. Daniel smiled gently. "Maybe it already has, for the better." Time moved on, but their bond only grew stronger. One day, Daniel said it. "I love you." Ada didn't hesitate. "I love you too." And for them, that was enough. Days later, Daniel made a decision. "I want to marry you." Ada froze. Tears filled her eyes. "You're serious?" "Yes." She nodded slowly, then said something that felt heavy. "There's something you need to do first." Daniel smiled. "Anything." "Meet my father." They stood outside her house. Ada held his hand tightly. Too tightly. "Whatever happens," she said softly, "don't hate me. Daniel frowned slightly. He didn't understand. But he smiled anyway. What could possibly go wrong? And together, they stepped inside. The moment Daniel entered the living room, something felt wrong. The air was heavy, too quiet. Ada's father sat there, watching, waiting. Daniel stepped forward. "Good evening, sir. My name is..." Daniel. Daniel stopped. "Yes." The man stood slowly, his eyes fixed on Daniel's face, carefully, deeply. "What is your mother's name?" he asked. Daniel frowned. "Grace." Silence. Then the man staggered slightly. "I knew it," he whispered. Ada looked confused. "Daddy, what is going on?" The man turned to her. His voice broke. "This boy," he looked back at Daniel, "is my son." Everything stopped. Daniel shook his head. "No, that's not possible." "I left your mother years ago," the man said. "She was pregnant. I didn't stay." Ada stepped back slowly, her voice trembling. "What are you saying?" The man couldn't look at her. "You and him..." He stopped, because the truth was too heavy to say out loud. Daniel turned to Ada, his heart racing, his voice shaking. "Ada..." Tears streamed down her face. "No, this is not real." Memories flooded Daniel's mind. Every moment, every touch, every word, now broken by truth. "We didn't know," he whispered. Ada cried harder. "But we know now." Silence filled the room. Heavy, painful, final. Daniel stepped back slowly. "I love you." His voice broke. "But I can't continue." Ada nodded through tears. "I know." They stood there, so close, but no longer allowed to be. "I wish we met differently," Ada whispered. Daniel closed his eyes. "Me too." But neither of them moved closer, because now they understood. Daniel turned and walked away, each step heavy, but necessary. He didn't look back, because if he did, he might not leave. Some love comes into your life only to teach you something, not to stay. Some truths come late, but they still matter. And sometimes doing the right thing hurts more than doing the wrong thing, but it is still the right thing. Daniel lost love that day, but he kept his humanity, and that was the choice that defined him. The same blood that brought them together was the same blood that forced them apart. If you were Daniel, what would you do? Would you walk away or fight for love? Tell me in the comments and follow for more powerful stories.